really cold today. Neighbours making noise outside, thank you. Why is it literally the second I always press record? It always happens. Anyway, something to just get out of the way quickly. Chronopolis is dead. Completely. Gone. If you saw the video where I changed my channel name, you'll know the reasons behind all my thinking, so there's no point me repeating everything, so let's just move on with our lives because no one really cares. Moving on. On Saturday, I did a talk at the National Autistic Society's AGM called The Pros and Cons of Social Media. And instead of filming the whole talk, I thought I'd chop it down and take individual subjects that I speak about it and make videos about them because more videos for me. And also there are topics that I discussed in that talk which I didn't really get to fully go into as much as I'd like to have done, so I get to do that online. Today's one, friendships. Well, I have made a video about friendships before, like back in February, but if I'm completely honest, I don't stand by most of the things I said in that video. At that point in my life, I wasn't in a very socially confident place. Now I am. My situation's completely changed since then, so I kind of have a lot of different viewpoints on it. So, prior to this whole YouTubey thing, I only really spoke to about 10-15 people in my life. Most of them are my immediate family. And that's what I was used to, that's what I was comfortable with. Ever since I've started doing online stuff and getting involved with different organisations and blah 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 blah, I've had to be a lot more sociable. I say have to, like I've been forced to. I've actually enjoyed being more sociable. Didn't expect that. The technique that I used to use was I used to like to separate friends into groups, like you are best friends, therefore I have these rules attached to you. You are friends, therefore this, and then acquaintances. But I struggle with these words specifically now because as soon as you enter in this online world, the lines all kind of blur. Friendship is one of the most confusing concepts for me. I'm really kind of protective over it. I'm not 100% sure about it all the time. A lot of that is down to me being on the autistic spectrum. I know that it's something that kind of affects a lot of people, whether you're autistic or not. I see the word friend being thrown around a lot nowadays, online specifically. It gets used too much for my liking. If someone is my friend, we've both got that mutual connection. This sounds really strange. Bear with me. It's really weird to kind of dissect these things that are such simple concepts to some people but not to others. But if we are friends, we've made a connection, not a physical connection. Let's not get into that territory. No. And essentially what it comes down to, it's two people going, I like you, and the other person also being like, I like you too. That's obviously rarely said out loud, but in the online world there seems to be kind of a bit of confusion over who is actually your friend and who is not. When you're spending time with someone every day, yes, you get those odd people that are fake to your face and just pretend to be a friend. They're the minority, we're not talking about them. Generally, it's a lot easier to gauge a friendship in person because you're meeting up every so often, etc. Whereas online, you're kind of putting it down to quantifiable things. You know, like you can literally count how many messages you've sent to each other and if that's kind of equal. I feel like there's a lot of room for error online. One of the biggest areas of errors in friendships and online stuff is YouTube. This thing. If you're watching this video, you've likely watched quite a few other videos. You probably know quite a lot about me. I may even reply to your comments and learn a little bit about you. And yes, fair enough, over week by week that kind of builds up and it takes up a little compartment of my brain. To come down to the facts of it, 99% of us aren't friends. I know people say hello internet best friends and things like that. We're not, you know, you know me more than I know you. That's the whole creator viewer divide thing, which I find fascinating and is a separate topic. But it's a good example to give because that's an imbalance. That's an imbalance of one person has more feelings towards one person than the other one does. There's more attachment coming from one direction than the other. It's not equal. Whereas in friendships, you tend to have a similar range of emotional attachment. Yeah, fair enough, one might be more attached than the other, but still they're always more around this area than this. I feel another thing that confuses everything. Does Twitter follows mean friends? Two people may follow each other online. Does that mean they're friends? Depends. I would consider some of the people I've never met actual friends. I've either messaged them like nearly every day or we've Skyped or something. That's friendship because we're both putting in equal interaction. These are people who I have trust in. These are people who I share interests. To me, those are kind of the core values of friendship. People that I can trust and who I can talk about lots of random stuff with. Let's face it, it's mostly Disney most of the time, or Jessie J, or Doctor Who, or Harry Potter, or yeah, you get the point. I personally feel uncomfortable when people say we're friends when we're not. That can really make me uncomfortable. Yes, everyone has their different idea of what friendship is, but to me it's such a sacred thing that if people mislabel it, it can, I get scared and anxious. If they're going to happen, they're going to happen. They're going to naturally grow. You'll naturally become friends with someone, things will happen, the world will work in its ways. There tends to be this thing online where people try and force friendships, and that's not nice, because if someone tries to force a friendship on you, what are you going to do? You're going to go the other way. You're going to go, no, don't want anything to do with you. See, it's also interesting because there's people in this world that I have trust in and we can talk about stuff, but we don't have that constant interaction. We don't have anything that publicly shows we're friends. I always hate to use the label friends. I normally wait for the other person to use the word friend just so I can be 100% sure that I'm not being over like, are we friends, are we friends? It's really bizarre to me because YouTube's quite a friendly culture, and there's people who I've literally known half an hour, they've then used the word friend, and I've been comfortable with that. That's been fine. But then there's people who have kind of just been in my knowledge, but I've not really had interaction with. I may have even met them once or twice, but we're still not friends. It's a very bizarre thing. I think the online aspect of friendship is like a magnifying glass, but the magnifying glass is kind of faulty and blurry. So everything's a lot more intense, but it's a lot harder to see what's going on. Did that make sense? I'm not normally good with analogies. Forgive me. This has been quite intense. So, what does friendship mean to you? What are your values of friends? And have there been any situations where you've misassessed a friendship and you've not been as close to someone as you thought you were? It's happened to me. It has, oh God, it's really happened to me. Is there a definite answer to that question? Do you just feel friendship is something that you shouldn't really have to think about? Obviously, me being me, I think about absolutely everything. So it'll be interesting to hear what other people say on this topic. Little clue, you'll know you're friends with me if you've got my phone number. That's normally a good indication of my friendship. Although saying that, there's people who I'm friends with that haven't got my phone number. Confusing. Please let me know your thoughts on this topic down below in the comments. I shall read through, reply, we shall have a knit and natter. We won't become friends. We might be. Confusing. Thank you very much for watching. Bye. Ooh, I forgot to say, live show tonight at 8 o'clock. Only going to be a quick one because I live streamed last night, so kind of a half an hour one. Let's go chat.